Namaste and welcome everyone here to the 2020 Maha Dasha Summit. We're very excited and pleasure to have you here to discuss in-depth, comprehensively everything about what a Dasha period is. We're going to be discussing it from a scientific and a metaphysical perspective. And we're here with two amazing teachers, Ksanāti Geppi and Sunili Pawar. And I think before we get started, I would just like to do a little introduction for them. For Sunili, Jyotish is her breath and heritage from her grandpa. She learned and earned Jyotish Bhushan, Jyotish Pandit title from Jyotir Vidya Pradubini School of Jyotish in Mumbai. She also learned deep wisdom from her uncle Sri Bhagyesh Triveji, and I hope I pronounced that right, and many teachers like Master Sri A.V. Sundaramji, who I'm also friends with, Pantan Guruji. She studies all forms of Jyotish, including Jaimini and Nadi. She's taken webinars of Navamsha and Dashamsha. She has her Planet to Soul group, and she currently practices in her hometown of Mumbai/India, and she teaches online and offline. She's writing a book on Navamsha Rashaya, which will be published soon. And if you would like to contact Sunili, contact her at planettosoul.com. So such a pleasure to have you here, Sunili. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so very much, Ksanāti, and it's a great pleasure for me to join you. This is the, I think, second or third time I'm associated. We meet first at Sedona. I think Sam was also there at Sedona, but we could not talk much that time. Maybe this year I was about to make it, but because of this pandemic, I'm not very sure whether it will happen or no. But it's it's a great pleasure joining you all, and thank you, and I am welcoming everyone who is associated with this webinar. Thank you so very much.
Oh, thank you, Sunili ji. It is also with deep respect I'm able to introduce Sam Sadasiva Geppi, joining us from San Diego, California. Sadasiva ji is the founder of the American Academy of Vedic Art and Science, which offers levels 1 to 3 certification programs in Vedic astrology. He's also known for many amazing books, including Yoga and Vedic Astrology and the Ascendant 108 Planets of Vedic Astrology. He's always doing thorough and comprehensive analysis of current events and all of significant transits, which are released on his YouTube channel. He has write-ins and lectures which are incredibly profound, poignant, and speak directly to the core of the karmic fruit and the karmic situation. Sadasiva recently released a forecast on transits. You can be reached through his website, VedicArtandScience.com. Welcome, Brother Sadasiva. Namaste. Oh, Sam, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ksanāti and Sunili and all of the participants here. I look forward to presenting this.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is very exciting. And I'm just going to do a double check to see if Dr. Dharmesh or Dr. Pai is here before we get started. But I will invite them in if they join while we're doing the meeting.
By the way, I also just wanted to say I apologize that I won't be able to stay very long. I can present for at least one topic, maybe two, we'll see. But I also have to leave a little early, or rather quickly. So I apologize for that. In the interim, something else came up.
Okay, well, let's get started right away. And Sunili ji, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Sunili, would you please discuss the significance of the Maha Dasha versus the Antar Dasha and the way that they interact with each other?
Okay, so thank you, Ksanāti. And see, basically, Maha Dasha, everyone is very much aware about it. Maha Dasha is the starting point of our karmic cycle. whenever we are born. So that time only our Maha Dasha gets started. And second thing, there are different types of Mahadashas which were followed and which are followed now also. But basically, Vimshottari Mahadasha is one of the type which is very usually and very commonly followed. The second commonly followed Mahadasha is Ashtottari Mahadasha, which is basically depending on the Rahu and your ascendant. So that's a little complicated dasha, but when you go to north side, means towards Gujarat, so there people follow Ashtottari Mahadasha and they do not follow Vimshottari Mahadasha. People from Calcutta, they do follow Yogini Dasha, which is of 36 years, and some follow by 35 years also, where different type of yoginis, and they are just getting connected with all Dasha Mahavidya. They are very deep follower of all devis and Dasha Mahavidya also. So it is like Mangala, Dhanya, Pingala. So all this Dasha they follow, and the best Dasha out of it happens to be Siddha Mahadasha, which is connected to Venus. But usually we follow Vimshottari Mahadasha, which is very, very common, and Vimshottari Mahadasha starts from the moon nakshatra. Whatever nakshatra you are born with, that means whatever nakshatra is of your moon, that nakshatra Lord Mahadasha you are starting. Say for example, as you said that you are Aquarius ascendant with Rahu nakshatra, so definitely you are born with Rahu Mahadasha. So 18 years will not be the Mahadasha. That is the common following, that Rahu Mahadasha is of 18 years. But whenever you are born, there is a Bhogya and Bhukti Kal. So it is when you were already in your mother's womb, maybe that was the bhogya kal, and when you are born, then that is a bhukti kal. So remaining years, how many years are pending, you have to undergo that Mahadasha. And after that the series start of Mahadasha. But basically it is said that if you are born in small Mahadasha like Surya Mahadasha or Ketu Mahadasha, basically then we can say Mars, because Ketu Mahadasha is 7 years, Sun Mahadasha is 6 years, Mars Mahadasha is 10 years. So small Mahadasha when you are born with, so you are getting big Mahadasha when you are growing up. So that time you have enough time to make your own growth. And Mahadasha, very common word, we can say that it is a span of particular years, which is commonly practiced to see the particular events happening in your life. Events related to your growth, related to your each and every house. You are definitely supposed to undergo particular planet Mahadasha now and throughout your life. So basically Vimshottari Mahadasha is of 120 years, because in ancient times it was believed that person is having at least birth years, or we can say longevity of at least 100 years. So that is why it was designed in that form, that at least person is able to enjoy the fruits of each Mahadasha, so that karmic cycle gets over and person gets the moksha. That was the basic idea of that. But now in this 21st century, we are not living till 100 years, except few. Definitely there are people who are living more than 100 years. But if we want to know proper event, then definitely we have to conjoin Mahadasha, Antardasha. Antardasha is the immediate planet coming after that Mahadasha planet. That is your Antardasha. That means, I will just give you an example. If you are running Mercury Mahadasha, so first Mahadasha will be of Mercury Mahadasha. So basically Mercury Mahadasha is of 17 years. So after Mercury there comes Ketu. So after Budh Mahadasha, the Ketu Mahadasha will start. But Antardasha, if you will talk about, so Budh Dasha, and then Budh Ketu Dasha will start, then Budh Venus Dasha will start, then Budh Surya Dasha will start, then Budh Moon Dasha will start, then Budh Mars Dasha will start, then Budh Rahu right? Then Buddha Jupiter, then Buddha Saturn, and then your dasha is getting over. And all these 17 years of Mercury Mahadasha is divided into particular years. That particular years will be granted for this particular Mahadasha and Antardasha. And wherever your that Mahadasha planet is posited, you just have to assess that Mahadasha Lord and its nakshatra definitely, that what type of fruit this planet is going to give us. And no doubt, as per your house placement, as per the signification of that particular house, and as per the nature and characteristic of that particular planet, you are going to gain the fruits of that particular Mahadasha and Antardasha. Even though your planets are posited in 6, 8 and 12, then people say that my Mahadasha Lord is going in Trikabhavas, then definitely it will not go good. No, it is not so, because you are supposed to enjoy the fruits of Antardasha also. Because even though Mahadasha Lord is your 6, 8 or 12 uh, posited, but Antardasha is going to change after particular time period. So definitely according to that Antardasha, sub dasha, definitely you are going to enjoy the fruits. But one has to read that properly through chart and no doubt through transit also. So this is the rough idea where we come to know that whether my marriage will happen in dasha or no, what will be my education. So at that time you need not go through Jupiter Mahadasha. Maybe you are running Rahu Mahadasha and you are highly qualified, because 18 years span is there. If you are born in particular dasha, say for example, you are born in small dasha and then you are born in Ketu dasha. So after Ketu, Venus dasha is going to start. So you are going to enjoy a lavish fruits of life, because Venus is having that particular quality of enjoyment and material life. So maybe in that period you will become more creative and your whole soul will go towards the creative work or creative studies, or maybe you will lose your way in a proper like if your parents want to go to particular stream or you want to go to particular stream, and if that Venus, which is your Mahadasha Lord, is not posited in a good nakshatra or in a good house or not holding a good strength, then definitely you have to improve this nakshatra Lord also and this Mahadasha Lord also. So whatever span you are going to get in your life of Mahadasha, that is from the age of 15 to 25. That is the most crucial time of your life, where you are studying and you are making yourself to prove yourself to this world. So that Mahadasha is very, very important dasha, because that is your life making dasha. And whatever you are getting after 25, that is your growth period. So that is why we have to get very good dasha, and everything is depending on our karmic cycle. As per your karma only you are going to get this dasha. Many people are not at all getting Venus dasha in their life. They are not able to enjoy the fruits, or they are getting Venus dasha at the age of 65 or 70 years. What is the use of getting so much of wealth when they are so old? They could have got it earlier in their 20s, but this is our karma. We are not able to enjoy the functional benefic planet. Say for example, Aquarius, you are born in Aquarius moon. So definitely if Venus dasha is not coming in your life, or when you are 60 over, then you are not able to enjoy the fruits of that Venus, in spite of Venus is happening to be your functional benefic planet in that ascendant. See, we have to study this way also. And Jupiter also, every time it is not necessary that in Jupiter dasha also people are complaining of suffering from any health issues or suffering from progeny issues. You know, in Jupiter dasha also they are not able to do proper education also. Here also, then we have to see which house this Jupiter is posited, and no doubt wherever this bigger planet and heavier planet is posited, then definitely it is going to lessen at least one of the signification of that particular house. And lastly, whatever dasha you are running, if that particular dasha lord is enemy to your ascendant lord, and antar dasha is also enemy to that ascendant lord, then definitely here your 6th house and 12th house are getting most activated to give you lots of medical treatments or health issues are supposed to face. So you have to understand the planets first. If you understand the planets, then only you are able to derive the fruits, that how my Mahadasha will go, how this Antardasha will go, whether this Mahadasha is definitely coping up with the Antardasha Lord. Both of have to be friend. If you are running Mercury Mahadasha or Rahu Mahadasha and Antardasha is of, say, Rahu Mahadasha, Antardasha is of Mercury, so they both are coping with each other. So definitely that will be a suitable time period for you. But if it is Rahu and Surya Dasha, if it is a Rahu or Surya Dasha, then definitely you have to struggle a lot to gain some post, position, respect. All of a sudden you will find that, oh, I'm losing my respect, or maybe I'm losing my self-confidence, I'm losing my self-esteemed value, or people are not paying attention towards me. This is because of Rahu and Surya Dasha. It may definitely drive you towards the political mind also, because Rahu and Sun, both planets are very precipitating factors to give politics also. At the same time, your healing values also increases. So you are able to heal people if you have good Rahu and Sun in your chart, because this yuti or this combination will definitely give you good healing power. And this combination, many people are into healing profession also, specifically Ayurvedacharyas or Vaidyas. Definitely they are having these combinations. But basically
Just a
the
couple more
planet,
minutes, Sunili.
yeah, sure. What? I didn't get.
Just a 2-minute warning.
Yeah. So likewise, basic rule you have to understand that your Mahadasha Lord should be friend to your ascendant Lord and should be friend to your Antardasha Lord. Then that particular Dasha will be at least better and you can expect fruits. If they are enemies, then don't get afraid that this Dasha is not going to go good. Not at all. There are again sub Dasha. So definitely you are going to get some or other type of fruits. So one should not get very afraid out of this Dasha. Only they have to balance and manage their karmic cycle. That is the most important factor of Dasha. Because I am not saying here how many years are given to which planet, because everybody knows about it.
Yeah. I picked.
So that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Sunili Ji. I picked you to introduce this topic because I knew you would cover it very comprehensively, both the Maha Dasha and the Antar Dasha. And if Sam has anything to say, but all I want to comment on is the main thing I look at is, okay, is the Maha Dasha planet have good dignity? Does the Antar Dasha planet have good dignity? Does the Maha Dasha planet and the Antar Dasha planet, what is their planetary relationship? And then we can really kind of understand the Dasha simply in its interaction just by using those classifications. So those are some of the classifications I like to use. Anything you want to say, Sam, on the Maha or Antar Dasha before your first presentation?
Actually, I'll just include it in the presentation, and I can just present both of my things simultaneous because the first one is pretty easy, and then there's a case study, and I can fold my comment into that because it's actually very much in alignment with what I'm going to talk about as well.
Okay, so let me ask you then, would you discuss the shifting from one Mahadasha to another and the transitional energies around the shifting of the Dasha?
Absolutely, and I'm also going to give a case study that shows what makes karmas ripen in the dashas, and it also plays into what Sunili was just saying, and also the functional benefic and malefic qualities of the planet. So I'm going to share my screen. Is that okay?
Please.
Okay. So here's an outline that I have, that shows there's a case study with Angelina Jolie and her breast surgeries, which I'm going to talk about in the context of Dasha planets activating the rulers and the Karakas in the Vimshotri Dasha scheme. But the first thing
my favorite examples are Brad Pitt and Angelina.
but the first thing is going to be the Dasha Shandi, which is the shifting from one Maha Dasha to the next. And I've found this to be very compelling, that the last antar Dasha of one Maha Dasha prepares for the next one. So we tend to look at that. By the way, this is the Vimshotri Dasha that I'm talking about, which is said to be used for all indicators, whereas the conditional dashas are said for different conditions. But it's sort of confusing about when to use it. Do we use it just when that condition is showing, or do we use it in any chart? Because you'll have a chart that fulfills many conditions. So when do we use the conditional dasha? It's up for grabs. We're not really sure. But anyway, we do know that Vimshotri is said to be used for all indicators and in all circumstances. So I just decided to focus on that once I started my practice, because I'm a little dense and I need to make it simple. So I make it simple this way. But one dasha moving into the next one, we see that the last cycle, that the last bhukti or the last antar dasha is actually preparing for the next Mahadasha. And I have it laid out here. It says also that these transitional cycles, one is advised to not make big decisions, especially about getting married or buying a home or something like that, because that last cycle of one Mahadasha often feels very transitional, because big shifts are happening and we're not sure what's going on. So many times you'll see people do something like get married or buy a home. Two of the biggest things that you can do to stabilize your life, people will do it as dashas are shifting, particularly between Venus and the sun, because that's the biggest transition. Venus is 20 years and then the sun is 6 years, and is going to come and burn up all that Venus stuff in 6 years. And that last cycle is Venus Ketu. And all of a sudden in Venus Ketu, people start changing their friends. Everything starts to change. And they're like, okay, I know what I'll do. I'll get married. I'll buy a house. That'll stabilize everything, because everything feels so unstable. So watch these transitions. But I'm going to go through each one of them here, and you'll just see very clearly that Ketu Mercury prepares us for Venus. Okay. So again, the last antar dasha of Ketu is Ketu Mercury. So I'm not going to explain that every time, but that's what you understand. So Mercury bridges the severity of Ketu to the sweetness of Venus. So Mercury starts to get us engaged again after Ketu is kind of separating us. Venus Ketu prepares for the sun. So Ketu bridges that sweetness of Venus to the austerity of the sun, because the sun is where we're going to start acting in accordance with clarity, not necessarily with connection, which is what we have with Venus. Then Sun Venus prepares for the moon. So Venus bridges that clarity of the sun to the feelings of the moon. So again, we're in transition when we're in that last antar dasha, and the next one is coming, but it's not there yet. So that last planet really bridges it. And then moon sun prepares for Mars. So again, the sun bridges that feeling of the moon to the energy and intensity of Mars that's coming. So again, moon sun is starting to prepare us for the Mars dasha. Then Mars moon starts to prepare for Rahu. You might say, well, how's Rahu like the moon? Well, Rahu is the nodes of the moon. Okay, so you have to remember that the nodes are lunar nodes. And the moon bridges that energy of Mars to the intensity of Rahu and the emotion and feeling of Rahu, because Rahu is very emotional at first. It's very irrational, and so is the moon. So for Mars, which is very sensible and logical, Mars moon, and all of a sudden all that sensibility and that, I'm strong, I'm clear, starts to get shaken up. And then the Rahu dasha, and it's preparing us for Rahu. Then Rahu Mars then prepares us for Jupiter. So Mars destroys a lot of that confusion of Rahu, preparing for the lessons of Jupiter. This is a big transition, because from Rahu to Jupiter, we've been in an 18-year Rahu cycle, and Jupiter is next. Again, Mars starts to destroy all of that confusion, preparing us for that wisdom and clarity and insight and the lessons of Jupiter, because Jupiter is where we're going to now look for a high teaching and a good guru to help us understand all that Rahu confusion. So Rahu Mars destroys a lot of the confusion so that the wisdom of Jupiter can come through. But again, these are transitions. These are often painful transitions because we've been in that long Maha Dasha. Now this last thing is here and it's saying, okay, you need to transition now. And I call this Dasha Shandi because it's just like the transition of one Rashi into another. Those last few degrees are, and the early degrees of the next sign are confusing, the same way when dashas shift. And then we have Jupiter Rahu prepares for Saturn. So that last section of Jupiter Rahu prepares, it shows the stress of Saturn, to focus that hope of Jupiter. So Jupiter Dasha, there's a lot of teachings and inspiration and guru and it feels like a lot of growth. But then Jupiter Rahu starts to create this stress like, okay, well, what things do I focus on? What do I concentrate on? I don't know. I feel very inspired, but now I feel pressured to have to apply it. So Jupiter Rahu is preparing for that implementation and concentration and focus of Saturn, which is the next Maha Dasha. And again, this is also a big transition from Jupiter to Saturn, because Jupiter, again, things feel more abundant, and Saturn, they tend to feel more scarce, but it's really just about having to focus the energy, because in Jupiter, it's very expansive, and Saturn, it's very concentrated. And then Saturn-Jupiter prepares for Mercury. Jupiter bridges that seriousness of Saturn to the curiosity of Mercury. Saturn is a long haul. It's 19 years of feeling like we're just trying to survive it. That last section, about 2.5 years, Saturn-Jupiter, and we start to feel expansive, like, whew, okay, I feel like I can breathe now. There's some possibility here. It's not just trying to survive. And that prepares us for Mercury, which is all of the variety and openness and curiosity that comes after Saturn. So again, Saturn-Jupiter starts to prepare us and open us for that. But then we get Mercury-Saturn, which prepares us for Ketu. So Saturn bridges that playfulness and curiosity of Mercury Dasha with the focus and severity of Ketu. So as Mercury is ending, Ketu is coming. So Saturn says, okay, now you need to concentrate this energy more. You need to take all that you've gathered in Mercury and start to concentrate it, because Ketu is going to be very much about how much you're able to concentrate and focus on what's the most important. Okay, so this Dasha Shandi is really important. And to just, as I say, continue with it, because I have to be leaving here, but I can just show you this. And I'm going to have this download for you so you can watch this a few times if it might go a little fast, but you'll be able to see this. It's a pretty simple principle with a case study. And it also builds on what Sunili was saying and Ksanāti as well. One of the main things that we'll see is the functional nature of the planets as well are very important in their Dasha scheme. Of course, the dignities are important, but also just the functional nature of the planet. As we understand, the planets have a relationship with the Dasha Lord. So and I have a case study here with Angelina Jolie. She's a Cancer, and she had her breast surgeries. All of these things started when she was in her Venus-Mercury Dasha. Now, Venus-Mercury, it's these two gentle planets. Shouldn't that be good? Well, they're two functional malefics. Venus rules the 11th house, which is a functional malefic, and Mercury is the 3rd and 12th lord. So again, even though they're two gentle planets, for a Cancer person, they're two functional malefics. And this also illustrates a principle of what the Dasha planets activate in their Dashas. You want to understand that the Dasha planets activate the rulers and the Karakas in the Rashis and the Vargas. So these are very simple yet precise rules for Dasha planets activating the karmas. And I've been using this formula and fine-tuning it for more than a decade. So you want to understand that in the Dasha cycles, the karmas are produced based on the planet as a Karaka. Means, for example, Venus is the Karaka of relationships, of beauty and things like that. Also as a house ruler. So in her Venus Dasha, because she's a Cancer, Venus also rules the 4th and the 10th houses. By the way, 4th house is breast. And then the dispositor of any planets in their signs in the harmonic charts as well. So for example, Venus rules any planets in Libra and Taurus. Again, she was in Venus Mercury. So it also shows any planets in Virgo or Gemini, but also the nakshatras. Again, planets, also the dispositor of any planets in their nakshatras. So again, especially with Mercury, planets in Mercury's signs or nakshatras, Angelina Jolie has 3 planets in Revati, which is ruled by Mercury. So when she was in Venus Mercury, it activated all these planets in Taurus, as well as being a functional malefic. It activated Saturn in the 12th because it's ruled by Mercury, and it activated Mars, Moon, and Jupiter in Revati. Now again, it was an auspicious thing ultimately because she lived, she didn't die from it or whatever, but it's a very interesting case study. All of the things that the planets rule in their dashas, and also the functional nature of the planets, because Venus, Mercury are 2 functional malefics, means that it's a struggle. And then all of the planets that get activated based on what the planets rule as a karaka, as a house ruler, as a dispositor of the planets in the signs and in the nakshatras. So there's no hierarchy in the above list, meaning it's not more important that, for example, that Mercury rules Gemini than it is that it rules Revati. It's all the same. It's just activating the planets, okay? But you look for confluence of factors to see what the most prevalent issues will be. So in this case, again, I'm just going to jump right down to the chart, but you see this was about breast surgery, okay? Now, again, we have to look for what are indicators of the breasts, okay? First of all, the sign of Cancer is certainly the sign of the breasts. The fourth house ruler, and the moon. These are all the things that you would see for breasts, okay? So her Venus Dasha, first of all, Venus is in the first house, which is her body, and it's also the sign of Cancer. Boom. Venus is also the 4th house ruler. Boom. Breasts. And Mercury also rules the moon, which is the karaka of breasts, right? And Mercury also, of course, is the ruler of her Lagna Lord, which is her physical body. So we see pretty much everything that would show breasts in Venus Mercury, including obviously not just breasts, but her physical body, because she's a Cancer ascendant, which is literally not just the breasts, but again, this body part is very, crucial to a Cancer person, right? So in Venus Mercury, we see all of those things that activate, first of all, the breasts. But then what about something like surgery? Okay, surgery is shown by things that are cutting. Again, this includes especially the planets, the Sun, Ketu, and Mars. These are the 3 planets of any kind of surgery. Do we see those things getting activated here? Okay, Venus rules Ketu in Kritika, cutting. Kritika is the nakshatra of surgery. Oops, I didn't mean to draw on that. The moon also rules, Venus also rules the sun, obviously in Taurus, and Mercury rules Mars in Revati. And again, Mars has also joined the moon, and it also rules Jupiter, the 6th house ruler, which is also in Revati. So again, if we're looking at surgery, 6th house is the thing that shows surgery. So again, every indicator of breasts and surgery are activated by Venus Mercury. And I've heard astrologers talk about why did she get all this breast surgery in Venus Mercury? Well, if you don't understand what makes karmas ripen, it's going to be very confusing. Venus is good. It's in the 1st house. It makes her beautiful. Yes, and it's a functional malefic. One of the worst, actually, for Cancer, if you've done research. Mercury as well, because it's the 3rd house ruler. Now, again, it also shows that this was a successful surgery, and she did it of her own will and her own volition. She didn't have breast cancer. She did it of her own will and her own volition, which is also Mercury. She said, I'm going to get ahead of this and use my intelligence and discrimination and have this preventative surgery done so that I don't get it, which is very 3rd house and very Mercury kind of thing, right? And so you can see this very clearly shown in this case study. By the way, this is also a case study for transits. At the time she had the breast surgery, it was also a case study that I did for aspects by transit. You can see when you look at the chart of the first surgery, Saturn was aspecting by transit her 1st house and that Venus in the 1st house, because Saturn was here. Saturn casts a 3rd and 10th house aspect. So you see Saturn was putting an aspect right here on that 1st house. And we also see that Mars by transit, aspects by transit, which is a very important concept. With 2 levels of dasha and aspects, especially if you use aspects by transit as well, you can do incredibly precise work. But you can see that Mars by aspect is also aspecting all these planets in Taurus, the ones that show all this surgery. Mars is literally putting a very direct aspect, especially 6 degrees on her natal Ketu, and also the Sun. We also see that Jupiter by aspect was going through this house that showed all this surgery at the time. So the whole time she was getting that surgery, which was being activated by the Maha Dasha planet, Venus, Jupiter was going through that same house at the time she had all these surgeries. So again, this is a very clear, it's not even that hard to see it if you use 2 levels of dashas, especially if you understand the functional nature of the planets, like Sunili said, and Ksanāti as well, that Venus isn't just a good one. It's a functional planet, means it's a cruel planet for Cancer, and you understand what makes karmas ripen, then you're not confused. And you can see this very clearly, especially when you also bring in the aspects by transit. So that's what I wanted to say. So I think it was good to be able to get both of these in. And you can watch this video over and over again if it went kind of fast, but you'll be able to download this in the video. But I think it's pretty straightforward. And that's what I wanted to say. I hope I didn't go over my time.
You did great, Sam. Just unshare the screen there.
Thank you. Okay. There we go.
So
Yes, and Sam, when Angelina Jolie got operated, that time Ketu was also there in Mars sign. I think it was in Aries.
Yeah.
So whenever Ketu goes in Aries particularly, and if transit is precipitating, so definitely it gives some or other type of surgical procedures, no matter, it can be endoscopy also, because basically Aries is the first sign where Ashwini Nakshatra lies. And,
yeah, and I'm sorry. Yeah, and I could
that
have
is,
talked, I'm sorry, I could have talked about
that's
the
okay.
transit chart more. I actually made it quite
Yeah.
abbreviated, but Ketu was in Kritika. Jupiter was also the 6th house
Yes.
ruler by transit. There was a lot of things,
Yes.
but I wanted to just kind of get through the main parts of it. But the transit chart itself, you could just show it by the transits, actually.
It was fantastic. Very nicely you explained it, and
Thank you.
our Maha Dasha tells everything. And I would just like to add here one basic rule to see the health also, means how the person's health. If any Prashna chart comes to you and you do not know the Maha Dasha also, or if you know the Maha Dasha, so there are four aspects of it. First house is patient himself or herself, that is rogi, that means the sick person. First house, that is first lord. Opposite is rog. Rog means what is the disease, that is the 7th house. Then see first house lord, then see 7th house lord. 10th house is a doctor, that means whether this person is going to get proper medication or no, whether this person is going to lie in hospital only. And then 4th house is your own discharge, like you will be at home or no. These 4 houses plays very, very important role whenever you are seeing any type of health aspect, specifically whether this person will come out soon or no, or which is the particular Mahadasha. And whatever Mahadasha is very stronger out of all these 4 planets, that will give you the proper result.
Wonderful. Folks, I have to leave, and I really thank you for inviting me, Ksanāti, and everyone, all the great students watching this live and also through the recording. I'm glad I got to present what I did, and I'm very sorry to have to run.
it's okay. We'll plan another one soon. Love you, Sadasiva.
All right, folks, take care. Sunili, Namah
Take care.
Shivaya, Ksanāti, and everyone,
Namaste.
bye-bye.
Blessings, my
Take
brother.
care.
So Sunili, it's you and me for the rest of the session.
Yeah, and actually I was thinking of leaving early because this is already night here, and
You'll certainly have
yeah,
time to present.
but I will definitely give you some more time because other 2 people are absent here, so
Yeah.
I'm there with you for some more time. And
I'll go through my topics quickly.
yeah, sure.
So
That I can also have my dinner then, and I can again tomorrow is working day for me.
Wonderful. Okay, good. So for my topic, I would like to be more specific, and instead of discussing how the dasha system works, I would like to discuss specific dasha. And people seem to have a lot of confusion about Rahu and Ketu dashas. So I would like to get into the discussion of what the Rahu and Ketu dasha is for each individual, for each person in their lives, what they can do to live with it, what they can do to understand it, what they can do to remedy with it, and how to understand these dasha. Now, the first thing about Rahu dasha is that Rahu is considered fog and smoke. And if there's too much fog and smoke, you wouldn't be driving a fast car, would you? Because if you did, then you would get into a car accident. So one of the things that the Rahu Maha Dasha does is it takes away our ability to accurately predict our own future. Now, people with strong Rahus are actually very intuitive at predicting and seeing other people's futures. But when it comes to seeing their own path, when it comes to seeing their own future, they can be dealing with a lot of Maya, the Sanskrit word for illusion. So that is one thing to consider, is that Rahu kind of dasha takes our away ability to accurately perceive the future. So if you're in Rahu dasha and you're thinking about the future and you're speculating about the future and you're trying to control the future, well, odds are it's going to end badly with destructive events. Another thing is that Rahu represents a dharma to some extent, but it also represents dharma. We don't understand. We say, oh, Rahu is a dharma, but we don't understand how it leads us to the dharma. See, first we go through adharmic experiences, which means we're in the Rahu dasha and we go through many experience, circumstances, and situations, and we say to ourselves, this is not who I am. This is not what I want. This is not what I want to be doing. This is not how I want to be spending my time. This is not what I like. But those experiences are equally as valuable, because when you go through that experience, you learn what you do like, what you do want, what you do need, what you do deserve. So even though Rahu gives you hard knock, tough lessons sometimes, there's no better way to learn a lesson, because you find out truly who you are and what we are in the most deepest spiritual dharmic sense by removing all of the Maya, all of the illusion. And really the Rahu Dasha, it wants to remove the Maya away from your life. But first, you must confront the Maya. And you must experience the Maya. And you must understand that I am experiencing Maya, and it will lead you on a path of truth, and it will lead you on a path of righteousness. A few other things that I want to mention about the Rahu Maha Dasha is that people during Rahu Maha Dasha, everyone has their higher self, which is represented by Jupiter. And then some people have their lower self, which we can say is sometimes represented by an immature Rahu. Now, the Rahu Dasha wants to evolve you into your higher self, but you'll be tempted with experiences calling you back to your lower self. For example, let's say that before Rahu Dasha, earlier in your life, you used to smoke cigarette. Then the Rahu Dasha begin. You start to smoke cigarette again. This is a very common example. You stop alcohol, you start drinking during Rahu Maha Dasha again. You stop marijuana, you start smoking the marijuana during the Rahu Maha Dasha again. And ultimately, these are just band-aids. And really what you want to do is go, Rahu represents austerity in its most mature and evolved form. So instead of going to the path of escape and drugs and alcohol, we go to the path of meditation, pranayama, bhakti yoga, and chanting. And Rahu, the great, before he became Rahu, his human form, Swarbhanu. Swarbhanu was an extremely dedicated yogi. So we must remember that Rahu also, in his own sense, is an extremely dedicated yogi, and in his most mature evolution is a dedicated yogi. But it has the temptation to fall to its vulnerabilities. Sometimes it falls off of its correct path to get onto its correct path. And sometimes it has to experience many new things to find the things that is right for him or that is right for it. The next thing I'd like to discuss is about the Ketu Maha Dasha. Now, the Ketu Maha Dasha, Ketu is the moksha karaka. Because Ketu is the moksha karaka, not everyone who's going through Ketu Dasha is an old person. So not every Ketu Maha Dasha has to do with death. But every Ketu Maha Dasha has to do with transformation and spirituality. See, because Ketu is the giver of omens and obstacles. So when you enter your Ketu Dasha, if you are on your correct spiritual path, no matter what age that you are at, the universe will show you that you are on your correct path. There is a red bird on my window. There is a blue bird by my car. There is money coming in that I was unexpected. All of these surprise and unexpected rewards when Ketu shows that we are in alignment with our highest spiritual frequency. But if we are not in alignment with our highest spiritual path, if we are not in alignment with our highest spiritual frequency, Ketu will send many obstacles into your life, and they can be very destructive, and they can get increasingly destructive as they go on. So it's very important to understand, if you're in Ketu Maha Dasha, what is the level of omens and obstacles in my life? Am I getting good omens to interpret, or am I getting obstacles that are causing me suffering? But the obstacles can be very serious. I always use this example. Let's say there is a lawyer who's meant to be guru. First day he is driving, he becomes a partner at his law firm. He's driving to his office, and his tire pops. Now, normally when a tire pops, we don't think anything of it. We think of it as accident. But here, Ketu is giving an obstacle or an omen. He's saying to the person, please do not take this path. This is not the proper path for yourself anymore. So let's say another week goes by. He's on his way to work. This time, he's in the left lane of the highway, and the transmission in his car begins to fail. So his car stops working completely. He pulls over to the emergency lane as quickly as he can, 30 seconds before a giant truck was going to hit him and end his life. Now, of course, if you're a spiritual person, you might think, hey, something's up. Maybe the universe is trying to tell me something. But if you're a not spiritual person, you'll take a cab to work. And then when you get to work, you tell your boss what happened, and he give you the company car. He says, oh, you lose your car, it has to be in the shop, use the company car. But remember, law is not the dharma of this person. This person is meant to be spiritual teacher. So now Ketu is getting angrier and angrier and angrier because the person is not noticing any of the messages that Ketu is sending to them. So now the person is driving in the company car on the way to work. And the next thing they know is they wake up in the hospital, broken knees, broken ankles, broken hands, all in cast, and they are in bed for 6 to 9 months. Now, I have to say, this was Ketu, and Ketu can be destructive and forceful in how it teaches us in this way. Because while this man was in the hospital, someone give him the Yoga Sutras. Someone give him the Bhagavad Gita. And he decide that when he gets healthy, he's going to go to India. He's going to go to the Himalayas. And when he gets to India, he's walking around and a 90-year-old man in an orange robe comes up to him and says, you are my disciple. I have been waiting my whole life for you. So this is the kind of karma of Ketu. We have this higher calling, but until we align to it, until we reach it, Ketu will cause destructive events during its Maha Dasha. So you know in your Ketu Maha Dasha, if you are on the correct path, whether your life is full of obstacles, that means you have to transform and change your life, or your life is obstacle free and everything is working out. And that is a good sign that you are in a very mature and evolved version of your Ketu Dasha. Before I move on to Sunili's next topic, anything you'd like to share about Ketu or Rahu Mahadasha, Sunili ji? Oh, I have to unmute you. 1 second. You're still muted. 1 second. Oh, here we go. How about now? Is the unmute?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay.
So Ketu and Rahu, very rightly you said, because Ketu and Rahu are nodes. Everybody knows about it, and grahas are devatas, and Rahu, Ketu are demons. So whenever, and that is why we are born. Why we are human being? Because of our Rahu, Ketu karmic cycle, we are born. Otherwise, we would have been devatas, because all other planets, from Sun to Saturn, all are devatas, right? And Rahu Ketu, when we are bound to get the dasha, or when we are bound to get Rahu Ketu transit over our Maha Dasha Lord also. It is not necessary that every time you have to get the dasha of Rahu or Ketu Maha Dasha. No doubt you are also getting the antar dasha, but whenever Rahu or Ketu are transiting over your dasha lord also, or antar dasha lord also, that time also you are bound to experience certain things. Ketu is the last breath of our life, I should say that. That is why 12th house we consider for Ketu, and whenever Ketu is posited in 12th house, it is said that person can detach himself from the worldly affair. But when this Ketu is posited in particular tattva and particular sign, it is not for all signs, because many people I have seen that they are having Ketu in 12th house, but yeah, they seems to be spiritual, but they are not at all able to live the material life. So this is Ketu. And when we talk about Rahu, so Rahu itself is a fantasy showing planet. Rahu is a illusionary planet. Whenever Rahu Dasha you are going, that time all of a sudden things will happen. Like you said that you do not know accident is going to happen, you are going to go to hospital or something. So definitely this is Rahu playing a role. And whenever certain things related to your health or related to sudden events are happening in your life, no matter they are good events or adverse events, that time somewhere this Rahu is playing very important role. You just see in your dasha sequence also, somewhere Rahu will be definitely connected in dasha sequence or in transit along with your dasha lord. Definitely Rahu Ketu will be 100% there. That is by default. Then only you will experience these types of fruits. And this is Kali Yuga planets. That is why we have to experience, and that is why we say that we have to worship Ketu, we have to worship Rahu by chanting mantras of Rahu Ketu. And always it is advisable, even though you have good Rahu or you have good Ketu or whatever it is bound and it is mandatory, everybody must chant Rahu Ketu mantras.
That is an excellent answer. I'm getting a couple questions, and they're saying, "Oh, well, what happens if you're born in Ketu Dasha? What happens if you're born in Rahu Mahadasha?" I think if you're born in Rahu Mahadasha, it can be very good because you don't have to go through a lot of the difficult experiences later in life, but then it can also cause childhood traumatic events that you do not have control over, especially if Rahu is not in a good position. Now, if you're born in your Ketu Mahadasha, that's very significant because it shows that in your past lifetimes, you were on the path to Ketu. But Dharmartha Kama Moksha Nama, Rogya Mula Mutamam. Dharma Artha Kama Moksha. There's no moksha without Dharma Artha Kama. So the people that are born in Ketu Dasha often are seeking moksha, but will skip Artha or Kama and have to come back in their life to complete that before they can prepare for their final moksha. The Mahasamadhi. So that was a very fun question. I really much enjoyed that. The next question that I have for you, Sunili Ji, is would you share your research application or any methods related to Vimshatari Dasha that you would like to share?
Yeah, see, basically, many people have a dilemma or difference of opinion that my Mahadasha is not going good or how my Mahadasha will go. As you said, that Rahu Mahadasha is such a long Mahadasha. If it is coming for 18 years in your life, and if it is coming at the age of 20, then your whole life, maximum life of next till your age 40, around 40, you are going to experience Rahu Dasha, right? So this Rahu Dasha is something like, whenever you are born in Rahu Dasha, what you were talking, I will just extend to it. That Rahu is like you are born, reborn of one of your ancestor, that is for sure. Because Rahu is definitely connected to our ancestors, our forefathers. So definitely when you are born, particularly with Rahu Nakshatra or Rahu Ascendant rising, that time we can reconnect or we can resemble your characteristic towards any of your ancestor, or you have that certain qualities in you. And when you are born in Ketu Dasha particularly, that means you are born to repay certain pending karmas or pending desires in this life. And then you have to see that which house this Ketu is posited. That particular house is asking you to repay the rinas, repay the pending things in this life. And then you have to see the particular relative connected to that house. See, this all small things are very important. And once you know all these things, definitely this this things will be very much easier and clear to you. Say, for example, your Ketu is posited in your 9th house of chart. Okay. And if you are running Ketu Dasha or Ketu Antar Dasha is coming for you. So definitely your work towards, or your duty towards your dharma, your duty towards your fatherly figure or your father, your duty towards your social reputation definitely increases. So whatever signification related to that Ketu, definitely you have to enhance and you have to accept the things whatever you are going to experience in that dasha. People ask that whether my fortune enhancement will take place or no, because I'm not going to get any good dasha in my life, because uh, somebody asked that which dasha is best. It is nothing like which dasha is best. Maybe Ketu dasha was fantastic for me, Rahu dasha was more fascinating for me, but Jupiter dasha was not at all good for me, being a benefic planet also. And in this time what we see that
Dr.
yeah, we will
Dharmesh,
welcome Dharmesh Mehta ji. Namaste.
Dr. Dharmesh, let me just unmute you.
Yeah. So whenever we are getting benefic planet dasha also, but still we are experiencing that this dasha period is not very much beneficial to us. So that time we have to understand that here your functional benefic and functional malefic theory comes into existence, whether it is beneficial planet for me or no, or even though it is functional benefic planet into your chart, but if it is posited in a malefic house, or if it is posited with nodes, like you are running Mercury Dasha, but Mercury Dasha is posited with Ketu or Rahu, or posited in nakshatra of Rahu or Ketu, then definitely the fruits will vary, whatever fruits you are going to get. I will just also add on to my topic that the simplest method also to see the Mahadasha, so it is a Tarabal, what we say, Janma Sampat Vipat, whatever everybody must be aware about is that whatever nakshatra you are born into, that is your Janma Tara, that is your birth star. Then comes the Sampat Tara. Sampat Tara means that is going to give you good fruits, Janma Sampat. Then comes the Vipat Tara. Vipat Tara means some adversely fruits also you will experience, and some better fruits also you will experience. That is a Vipat Tara. Say for example, if you are born in Rahu Nakshatra, so whatever Rahu Nakshatras are there in 27 Nakshatras, like Adra Nakshatra, then Swati Nakshatra and Shatatarka Nakshatra, all these three Nakshatras are your Janmataras. Janmatara means you are born with that particular Nakshatra. So definitely whenever Mahadasha of this Janmatara will happen to you, so it is bound to give you at least better fruits. I will not say it will give you fantastic fruits. Then comes the Sampat Tara. Sampat Tara means it will give you assurance that definitely good is going to happen. Sampat means it will give you blessings. That is a blissful moment of your life. So even though you are running Mahadasha of Vipat Tara, Vipat means something adverse, something not good. But if you are running Dasha of Vipat Tara, but Antar Dasha is of Sampat Tara, then definitely the fruits will vary. So this is the very commonest and easiest method to see the Tarabal and to decide that what type of fruits you will be getting through your Mahadasha. Then you have to just coordinate these fruits along with your events which are going to happen, and the events which are there in your mind, that people come, that whether my marriage is going to happen or no, whether my new job is going to happen or no. So definitely then I have to see that whether this person is having any type of Sampat Tara or Kshema Tara Dasha or Antar Dasha. So particular that phase I will see. Say for example, at present if somebody is asking me that whether my marriage will happen or no, but that person is running say Vipat Tara Dasha, right? And Pratyari Tara also. So I will say that no, you have to wait till this particular patch, and then the Kshema Tara Dasha, right? Or Sadhya Dasha will come. That time only your work will be done, or your marriage, at least marriage fixing will take place, or you will get good alliance, or you will get good proposal in your life, so that your seventh house will get most activated. No doubt that time we definitely have to see the seventh lord connection also to this dasha. Unless and until this 7th Lord connection is there, definitely your 7th house is not going to get activated in spite of having Sampat Tara Dasha. So Janma, Sampat, Vipat, Kshem, Pratyari, Sadhak, Vad, Mitra and Adhimitra. So Adhimitra is the bestest dasha one should have. So even though you are having Mitra Mahadasha, say for example, your Mercury is your Mitra and Adhimitra happens to be another planet like Surya planet or something. So definitely this dasha is going to give you what you never expected in your life. Such type of fruits you are bound to experience in your dasha. So this is the bestest method to see the Mahadasha fruits in one's life. Another method you can see that if your Mahadasha Lord is uh, posited in first house, ninth house or fifth house of chart, that is trikon, trine houses. So definitely these trine houses or dharma trikon is getting activated. So that means that at least you are going to experience certain good fruits in this dasha, and then signification of that particular house you have to see that what type of fruits I'm going to experience in this dasha, even though you are running your 8th Lord dasha. But if that 8th Lord is going in your first house of chart or fifth house of chart or ninth house of chart, then definitely you will experience these fruits in connection to your fifth house. That means your all your Purva Sanchit karma is going to get activated during this 8th Lord Dasha, because your fifth house is also simultaneously getting activated during this Dasha. Or first house if is connected, then first house dasha.
Thank you, Sunil.
So Ksanāti, this way definitely we can see this.
That was such a comprehensive and excellent explanation. Now, while you were gone, a very special man has joined us today, a very close friend of mine. It is with deep happiness I'm able to share Dr. Dharmesh Mehta joining us from Mumbai. Dr. Dharmesh is a great teacher for many years and offers teachings via his YouTube channel, DM Astrology. He's rich in experience in analyzing charts. He's received many prestigious awards, including this year, and recognitions for his work in the fields of Jyotish, including Jyotish Visharad, Jyotish Ratna, Jyotish Bhushan. And so Dr. Dharmesh Mehta may be reached for consultation by his website, dmastrology.com. Welcome, Dr. Dharmesh. It's so nice to have you.
Yeah, Namaste Ksanāti. Again, it is a panel discussion. It is very useful, and I also congratulate others who has also joined. I'll directly reach to my point that it's a North Indian system which I follow. Many are following the South Indian square type. I follow as a North Indian style. In North Indian style, we have a two shape of houses. I discuss in my Kendra Tikon also. So the Kendra house, which is called as a,
during your discussion, would you also discuss activation time and Muhurta?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be, for that only, I'll be coming. So what I say that in the square type, that is a Kendra house, the transit rules more. And for the triangle shape house, I'm not talking about the triangle house, but triangle shape house, which is 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 11, 12. These are the triangle, different shape of a triangle house, that the dasha is more prominent. Because this triangle house is used with some precondition, and that precondition is a time. A triangle shape house, if again I am repeating, I am not talking about the triangle. It is a triangle shape house, that is 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 11, 12. 8, 9, sorry. So triangle house interpretation is to be done with the dasha only, because they are prefixed with some time. It never allowed always. So whenever we talk about the transit, it will be a majorly useful for the Kendra house, square house, and this dasha. is basically used for the triangle shape house. So that is very prominent, and apply it, you'll find a good result. Whenever you use the dasha in the triangle shape houses, you'll get an exact result. Transit will not about to heal because these houses need some precondition. Like suppose I give the example of a second house. For second house, it shows that in second house, you all need money. When the money will come, so here there's a precondition if you keep a good relation. So this is a precondition and it is only available to the certain period of time. That is why we call where is the dhan yoga, where is all raj yoga. At that time the native will be benefited in their financial way, like gajakesari yoga, very common, but it need to have a moon dasha and Jupiter dasha. So my first basic thing is that apply majority dasha into the triangle shape houses. In Kendra houses, in 1, 4, 7, 10, if Dasha comes, then okay. Otherwise, don't wait for the Dasha result for the Kendra houses. Apply immediately transit. Because Kendra houses, suppose I say about the fourth house, somebody asks me that when I will take my home, my house. If I see the Dasha, it will never come. Suppose it comes in the 8 Dasha, 9 Dasha, or that Dasha, either Mars Dasha or fourth Lord Dasha, has came in the early age, in the childhood. Now now what happened? He will not get a property, he will get when transit will come. So first basic fundamental is for Dasha is apply Dasha in the triangle shape house, it will be more relevant. Any Dasha. Now coming to the Dasha, it is Dasha is based in the para BPHS, it is written apply two Dasha simultaneously. Don't wait for the one Dasha. One should be the sign base, house base, or uh, uh, one base is a sign or house base and one should be a moon base. If you apply this both, then only you will get actual result. I basically use the Vimshottari Dasa and Kal Chakra Dasa because both the base are different. So here you will get a confirmed result because when you are using the moon based Dasa, it's depend on your moon. If your moon is powerful, then only you will be able to get the Dasha who based on the moon. If your ascendant is more powerful, then apply the ascendant or sign based dasha like Yogini dasha or Kal Chakra dasha. So that also have completed that which dasha to be interpreted. Now, as our Sunilji has mentioned about the Tarabal in 2016, I released one video about the secret of dasha. You can see that secret of dasha where I mentioned this all the Tarabal as a Janma Sampat, all this. Whereas we got from the dasha that in Vinshottari, if we consider, we never able to enjoy the fruits of first dasha, majority of the second dasha, because that goes in the childhood when we are studying, when we are very young. And 8 dasha and 9 dasha. These 4 dasha, first, second, 8, 9. This dasha hardly we face in our life. So what happened? We don't get the result of these planets. Yeah, the dasha rule says that dasha is nothing but the time to planet to explore its result. When you find that you don't have a first dasha in your hand, you'll be a child. You don't have a dasha in the second dasha, because that is the time where you are dependent. You are dependent on family, education, and last two dasha 8 and 9. What Sunilji is talking about the Mitra Dasa and Adimitra, that's hardly one will get if he about 90 years, about 100 years, then he will touch 8 Dasa or 9 Dasa. So this reality we should understand that we are hardly enjoying the first Dasa, second Dasa, 8 Dasa and 9 Dasa. So which are the Dasha in our control? That is our third Dasha, fourth Dasha, fifth Dasha and sixth Dasha, because seventh is again the Maraka. It's called Vardhan, Nidan, and Maraka. So we don't enjoy this dasha, seventh dasha. So in our hand, it is only third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. These are the 4 dasha one has to see, and one has to see if this planet who's coming in the third dasha, fourth dasha, fifth dasha, and sixth dasha,
Dr.
if that
Dharmesh,
planet
it's a
is
2-minute warning on the first presentation.
yeah, I'm concluding, sir. Yeah. So here we have to see that we are not going to enjoy first, second, and 8-9 dasha. So whatever the 4 planets has remained, that are the main dasha core part of one's life. And in that period, whenever the sub period of 8-9 will come, then only that short period of the antar dasha you will going to enjoy. So apply these 3 rules in Kendra. Only use the transit. If dasha, it is an additional benefit. But triangle shape house, only use the dasha. You will find a good result. Sequence wise also, first, second, and 8-9 dasha you are not going to enjoy. And third principle is that apply 2 dasha simultaneously, one from the ascendant with either sign or house lord dasha like Kal Chakra and Yogini, or second base should be moon base like Vimshatri or Ashtotri. So that is my basic rule about the dasha, that how to use this dasha. And in second part, we'll discuss the how the Maha Dasha and Antardasha to be interpreted. So I'm here concluding my introduction part of a Dasha and whatever the important rule about the Dasha. So we may go to the next view. Hello?
Yeah, it was the Rameshji, really, it was really fantastic. But as you said, that 8th and 9th dasha are, everybody is not getting. Very fortunate people are those who are getting that dasha. But as I said, that if, even though if you are running any Vipata Tara dasha, but Antar dasha is say of Mitra Tara or Adhimitra Tara, then definitely you are bound to get better fruits, at least that vipatti will at least not come, or it will subside, or it will be half away, like at least 50% of fruits you will definitely get out of it.
Yeah. I say about the main dasha of 8 and 9 that will never come in our life.
Yeah, that
So
is
we have to enjoy that
is,
result in the sub period. As a sub period, we
yes,
can
yes,
enjoy this result. Very true.
absolutely. So Ksanāti.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that when it comes to the Dasha activation time, you look at the Maha Dasha, you look at the Antar Dasha, and you look at the planets which are transiting. And when all of those things seem to align, you seem to see these huge karmic events happen in our individual lives, in society. It's a combination of the Maha Dasha, Antar Dasha, and transit where we see these heavy activations take place in society and in our individual lives. And I think Dr. Dharmesh and Sunili would concur. Now, the next thing which I would like to discuss, since Dr. Dharmesh was a little late, Dr. Dharmesh, would you discuss the sequence of Dasha and a little bit of its significance?
Yeah, I have given in my earlier contention. I can further discuss in detail also, but I thought it's time
Just
is
a little more about the sequence of the Dasha.
yeah. So see, basically, everybody is using the Vimshottari worldwide. The people are using the Vimshottari Dasha only, and as I mentioned, that the sequence of Dasha is very important, as Tarabal is giving the strength about this. Normally, all the odd dasha, see, 2 things has given in the Vimshottari Dasha and BPHS or by Parashara. Yet one sequence is, as we are discussed about the sequence, one sequence is about the years, that is upper years and lower years. If Ketu is lower year 7, then Venus will be the biggest year. Sun again lower, then Moon is higher. Mars again lower, the Rahu is higher. Jupiter little lesser, then Saturn is more. Mercury is little less or it is more, then Ketu is little less. So one thing is a trend is like our cardiogram. It's like a cardiogram that one dasha will lower, second dasha is more, third dasha is lower, fourth dasha will higher. Now what happens? The beauty lies here. The sequence is that in which dasha you born. When I do the plant cesarean, I always try to keep in, and this is not a secret. I always try to keep the nakshatra which is having a smaller dasha, because as per the sequence it is say all the odd dashas are an exit point. Yeah, it is an exit point, and I apply this in the many charts. All the odd dasha is maximum and odd is a exit time. Like a first dasha is a balarist when the child can die. Third dasha due to the vipat, due to the difficulty, due to the so much stress, people may take some drastic step about their life. Fifth Dasha because of the Pratyantari. Pratyantari is a Sanskrit word which means tension, worries, and anxiety. Chinta, Hatasha, and Nirasa. Tension, worries, and anxiety. Because whatever you have created, fifth house. See, I always link a Dasha sequence with the house. First Dasha, first house activate. Second Dasha, Sampat, second house will activate. Now, third is the third house because third house you come out to the world and you face a lot of challenges. Fourth house, Kshetra and Kshema. Means it is a time of expansion. So all the material pleasure will be expanded. Fifth dasha is pratyantari, means creating tension, worries, and anxiety. Whatever you have created, like your child, like your education, like your business, profession, whatever you have created, that gives you a tension for the settlement. Sixth dasha is a sadhak dasha. Again, it's an even sequence, but it is in the sixth house. So what happens if you act, then only it will react. Sixth dasha means sadhak. Just sit like an idol. Now, till fifth dasha, you have done all the deeds. Now it is time to enjoy the fruits. In our ancient time, our sages says that when the sixth dasha starts, it's a time to vana prasthan. Go to the wood, go to the isolation place and do the meditation. This is a sixth dasha. The Parashara is likely to say that it's a your sadhak dasha. Just sit idly and enjoy whatever you have created. Then seventh dasha is the official time. As I told you that all the odd dasha sequence are the exit point. So seventh dasha again it is the official time to exit. Vada, Nidhan and Maraka. There are three words given for this. Vada, Nidhana and Maraka. Means we know seventh house is a Maraka. Now it is a situation. In seventh dasha, if a person is there, his situation is same like a first house or first dasha. In childhood, he is not able to walk alone. He needs some support. In seventh dasha, he will become old. He needs some support. Food pattern also same. Here also there is no teeth has come. In seventh dasha, there is no teeth has balance. Same. Strength wise also first dasha, the child has no strength. In seventh dasha, the person don't remain with the strength. So these are the exactly same dasha. I have seen when the person born in the Ketu dasha, Sun dasha, he will enjoy seventh dasha. But if he born in the Mars dasha, then he will enjoy only five dasha. If he born in the Rahu dasha, this is very important. If it is Rahu Dasha, then it is very important that in the Rahu Dasha, if somebody born, he may face a fourth or fifth Dasha because Rahu, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury all are a big Dasha where it will lead to 70 and 80 years. So person will not able to enjoy that for the long term. So this sequence is very important when we are conducting the sequence. Then first Dasha, second Dasha, I told you it goes to the childhood. Seventh and the eighth dasha will not able to give the result. Yeah, the balance dasha of the third, fourth, fifth, sixth that you can enjoy. It depends on the planet or dasha which you born, and that gives you the result. So whatever the planet you born, whatever the nakshatra star you born, accordingly your sequence will start. And suppose one person born in the even bigger dasha like Venus dasha or Moon Dasha or Rahu Dasha, then his good part of a life, like second Dasha, fourth Dasha, or sixth Dasha, will be a small time. Like a Mercury Dasha, somebody born, then his second Dasha will be Ketu, small. Fourth Dasha, Sun, small. Sixth Dasha, Ketu, very small. So Mars, very small. So likewise, this sequence plays a very important role. And I must say here that Dasha is nothing but the lock. Antar Dasha is key. When Antardasha you are seeing, Antardasha is a clock and Pratyantardasha is a key. So every lower part is a key for the upper part. So you should apply lower to upper, lower to upper, lower to upper. As I said, it is a six different part, but we should always apply three only. Maha Dasha, Antardasha and Pratyantardasha. If you go beyond this, the Shastra say, see the transit. It will be better to locate the event in the transit rather than go to the Sukshma Dasha, Pran Dasha or Pada Dasha. So this is my ultimate views about the sequence, and we can proceed ahead.
Just such an excellent and comprehensive answer, Dr. Dharmesh. And you also responded to a lot of the other presentations that the other astrologers did. And if the viewers of this video take what you discussed and also what Sam Geppi discussed, and combine the sequences of the dasha, we can really understand if the sequence from one dasha to another can be beneficial or non-beneficial using both Dr. Dharmesh's and Sam Geppi's methods. Do you have a little more time to discuss Saturn Dasha with me, Dr. Dharmesh, I would like to present on?
Yeah, surely. Why not?
Okay, good, good. You're staying up late with me. You are the midnight soldier.
Yeah.
So I would like to discuss Saturn Maha Dasha in thorough detail. Now, Saturn is called Shanaishcharya in Sanskrit, and that means the slow-moving planet. And all of the major planets, Saturn is the one which is the farthest from the sun and the slowest moving. So we know that it moves slowly. So if you are in Saturn Mahadasha, you can expect things in your life to move a little bit slower. But it says that no spiritual, this is from Parashara, that no spiritual change or growth manifests without the Saturn. So we think Jupiter as planet for spiritual growth. We think of other planets as spiritual growth, and they help us learn spiritual knowledge and information. But what helps us integrate it, what helps us apply it, it is Saturn. And so Saturn is the planet which gives us the virtues. Virtues is what makes us a spiritual person. See, people say, I am spiritual, but you cannot measure spirituality. How do you measure spirituality? You cannot. But one of the ways that spirituality can be measured is by virtue. Some of the virtues include honesty, patience, humility,
Yeah.
and acceptance. And you can't measure how amount you have of these things, but Saturn can and Saturn will. And Saturn will reward you in your life based on the amount of quality you have in these things, and will deal with you consequences if you do not align to these vibrations in your chart. And based on the position of the Saturn, it might be hard for you to be patient, humble, and accepting, or it might become natural for you to be patient, humble, and accepting. But that means that every situation that tests your patience, if you're patient in that situation, it improves your relationship with Saturn. Every time someone hurts your ego a little bit, and you realize that it's just your ego being hurt, that is also improve your relationship with Saturn. Whenever you accept situations that are difficult to accept, but you have no choice to accept them, that also improve your relationship with Saturn. So it's really about the spiritual change and growth manifesting. Having a good relationship with Saturn or improving relationship with Saturn doesn't make events or fruits happen any quicker in your life. But what it does do is it makes you a more patient person. It makes you a more honest person. It makes you a more humble person. It makes you a more accepting person. So that when you do the hard work that you need, what Saturn is usually connected to, structure, discipline, organization, focus, direction, hard work, and all of these things, when you accomplish those things, Saturn is a planet that delays, but it does not deny. And it will reward you with all of the fruits which you are seeking. But it will not reward you with them quickly. And it will not reward you with them unless you are patient, humble, honest, and accepting. And so it's really wants you to spiritually change and grow so that you can deserve material benefits. Because a lot of time in this life, people have material success, but they don't appreciate the material success because they don't have the virtue. But if you have the virtue and material success, not only is the material success more likely to stay, but you are able to use that money to do service, to do humanitarian things, to do positive things for our community. So people with exalted Saturns, like my guru Amaji, exalted Saturn Ascendant, we know she does so much good community work for this community and work for this world. So when you look at Saturn, you look at people's virtue, you look at spirituals, the growth, the patience, the humility, but you also look at all of the adversities that they must overcome, all of the timelines that they must be set back, all the hurdles that they must jump over. But the main remedy with Saturn is Saturn is kind of like when you jump on a horse for the first time. And when you jump on a horse for the first time, the horse will buck you off of the horse, and you have a full heart, and you fall off the horse, and you hurt yourself a little bit. If you have a good relationship with Saturn, you will get back on that horse and you will ride it again, and you will ride it better the second time. But people with very difficult Saturns, they get a lot of grief from falling off of the horse, from the difficult circumstances and situations in their life, and sometimes they are afraid to get back on that horse. But people with the well-positioned Saturn, they keep getting back on that horse until they are professional horse riders. So there is this direction where, okay, there are going to be adversities, challenges in your life that are going to test your patience. They're going to test your humility. They're going to test your acceptance. But your ability to overcome them, to accept God's will and God's timeline versus your will and your timeline, that is the ultimate improvement of the relationship with Saturn, and I think has a lot to do with the karma and the lessons of the Saturn Maha Dasha. Anything you would like to expand on the Saturn Maha Dasha, Dr. Dharmesh?
Yes, surely. You have comprehensively given a lot to the Saturn Dasha, but see, when the Saturn Dasha start, it start when the Jupiter Rahu ends. Now, Jupiter Rahu is a time where the people start losing the things. They are not able to get the things. So what happened that why the Saturn Dasha start showing the sacrifice? Because the previous Dasha, what is going to pass by the person, is the Dasha where he has lose many things. So first thing is that being it starting from the Jupiter Rahu, the Saturn rule start. The Saturn says initially in the Dasha you have to sacrifice something. If you start sacrificing something, then only you will be able to get the guarantee of the Saturn Dasha that it will pass in the good period. As you mentioned that Saturn is delay but sure. I always say it's a delay but sure. Now why people scare about the Saturn Dasha? Because they have not performed. If you have performed, if you have done the deeds, then why to worry? Because Saturn is a judge. He will judge whatever the deeds you have done in the earlier Dasha and how now you have to face this Dasha. Even though it is in the Janma Dasha, if somebody is born in the Saturn Dasha, he will start making the principle of his life in the initial stage. See, many people have a very hardcore relation, hardcore principle from their birth. I will do this, I will not do this. So that thing will happen in the Saturn Dasha. So it is very important that in Saturn Dasha you have to sacrifice, compromise anything. If you don't sacrifice or lose anything in the initial stage, then you will be facing many problems in the entire part of the Saturn Dasha. So I always advise my clients who are about to start the Saturn Dasha, I say, leave something, sacrifice something, which you like most, sacrifice it. So that if it is being taken by the time or if it is taken by the Saturn, you will not feel hard. Sometimes people lose their parents, sometimes they lose their highly material things, which they have too much attachment. This whether a person, whether a things, they lose their things, and they're very surprised that how it will be bad. So this is a Saturn Dasha, which is an initial stage. It is very important for everybody that in Saturn, 6 months span you will get Saturn and Saturn. This is a time to revise and re-raise your things. If you start losing something, compromising something, sacrifice something in the initial stage of Saturn, then Saturn will not give you any problem. Saturn always gives the efforts-based result. I say that it never gives the need base, but it gives a necessity base. So whatever your necessity is there, food, clothes, house, living area, this he will survive. This he will not touch. He will touch the extra things which you have covered for your comfort. Whatever you made your comfort, that will be taken away by the Saturn because he know that it is not required for you, so just leave it. Same thing happens in the Sadesati, that they lose so many relation, they lose so many person, they lose their job. Why? Because this was not a right place for them. So when the Saturn Dasha start, just very carefully, you start sacrificing something. You start doing something extra. If you are paid for the 100, do the 150 work. So that what happens that if you work more, then he has to give the result. So this is the main Saturn result, that entire Saturn Dasha, if you want to take a guarantee, like we take a insurance for our life, we know that our life is so much year or whatever year, we still take an insurance for this. This insurance is also a Saturn, where you give some portion to the insurance people, so to secure your life. The eighth house again is a insurance, and that is also Saturn. So Saturn is something which is bound to give result if you perform something, if you compromise something, if you sacrifice something, then you don't have to worry about the Saturn. There's a very good book written by Shani Shaman by the Mridula Trivedi. I mentioned in my Saturn video also the best book where he has mentioned that Saturn. And by reading that book, you will come to know that Saturn is not your enemy. Your ego is your enemy. You are not letting anything is your enemy. And Saturn will start breaking that ego, start breaking this. It will not be going to be worse in your life. And once the Saturn Dasha has passed, I know I am not so lucky to have my Saturn Dasha in my life, but I'll pray to the God. You can also pray to the God that I'll at least get the Saturn Dasha in my life. It's a Dasha where you realize your efforts and you'll realize the result and your capability. But if you are not lucky to the Saturn Mahadasha, just enjoy the same result in the Saturn Antardasha. And every Saturn Antardasha gives a very good result when you
Dr.
perform.
Dharmesh, what was the title of the book that you mentioned?
This is Mridula Trivedi.
Okay,
Mridula Trivedi, Shani Shaman.
someone asked.
Yeah.
How do you spell?
Mridula, Mrudla. Mridula Trivedi.
Okay, thank you. I will share. We'll be able to get that book. Now, I love what you explain and how you use the word sacrifice, because a lot of times I use the word karmic debt. And I think we can use this word sacrifice and karmic debt. When you make a sacrifice, when you make a compromise, you're